EFF leader Julius Malema has mentioned, as well as Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, back in the Randburg Magistrate's Court this morning. They're charged with the assault of a police official, and that took place, as I mentioned, during the funeral of the late struggle stalwart Winnie Madikizela Mandela, if memory serves me well, around 2018 or so. Mbali Thethani in studio with us. She's been covering the story. She's giving us an idea of what to expect. So Mbali, interestingly, well, first let's start with what we know about this case so far. This is not the first time that Ndlozi and Malema are back in court. Remind us quickly what happened the last time they appeared.
Of course, they did appear on the 14th of October, much earlier this month, and that trial, Ayanda, was expected to get underway, and 2 days was set aside. Today was expected to be the second day of the trial, but that was, of course, interrupted because we do know that the magistrate did not allow the media initially to broadcast those proceedings, and he demanded that the media bring a formal application to the court to explain why it's so important to carry this court appearance live. So we have now been allowed to broadcast those proceedings, and of course Newzroom Africa will be providing that pool feed to various media houses to ensure that it is broadcast on television. But you would know that there were also issues in court on that specific day where Julius Malema basically said that, well, he wants the entire court appearance to be broadcast live, and there were also issues as well, Ayanda, where the magistrate said that, well, he will not now allow witnesses to be broadcast live. So that was a whole huge issue in terms of who can be on camera and who can't be on camera. But we know that this stems from that 2018 assault case, and we know that we've heard from the police officer saying that it was initially reported to the Douglasdale police station, and he says that, well, they were not willing to entertain the case, and it was only when AfriForum got on board where then it was then returned back onto the court roll. So Ayanda, today we are expecting the trial officially to get underway, and it's not yet clear as to whether Julius will win when it comes to him wanting that specific police officer who has accused them of this assault to appear on camera.
Interesting, some of the reasons that Malema was giving at the time. He essentially made it about race, right? Essentially arguing that the witness not being shown on camera is because he's white, and that shouldn't be the case, because typically the narrative is that black people are the people who have the running in with the law. I wonder if that is enough to really even convince the judge to respond differently insofar as that is concerned. It
will be quite interesting, but from what I know, because the magistrate has already made his ruling, it seems as if that police officer will not be shown on screen. He has said that, well, he deems this as racial, and he says that, well, it's a white police officer who has accused them of assault, and that white police officer needs to appear on camera. And Ayanda, outside the court on that day, on the 14th of October, he also then told his supporters, well, he doesn't understand why the state is also protecting this white officer, and he needs to appear on camera. He also then said that, well, in fact, because they were bearing Winnie Madikizela Mandela on that day, emotions were quite high. And of course, he says that, well, no one's going to stop him from bearing Winnie Madikizela Mandela. And of course, they also then demanded for an apology from the police officer who the officer says that they did assault, and of course from the Presidential Protection Unit who was of course in charge of security on that day.
An interesting set of circumstances. We'll see how things pan out later today. Mbali Thethani on that story for us that's likely to play out in the Randburg Magistrates Court. Also interesting, though, in the backdrop, you might remember this detail, Julius Malema giving a briefing on a wide range of issues earlier this week. One of the things he touched on was how, of course, people need to continue adhering to COVID-19 regulations, but he said he'll even concede that it's not always possible during things like protests and when people gather in support of someone like a leader of a political party. So I wonder how strict the Red Beret leader will be today about people adhering to all these non-pharmaceutical interventions, the wearing of masks, social distancing when they come to support him.